Hey, witches, it's Way the Fiend, and today we're going over spreads specific to shifting. So I'm gonna have four of them. The first one is just kind of like a general journey spread, like what you need to work on to get to your actual desired reality. We have a script aid to help you guys with your scripting. We have a love spread, and then we have one that's a little bit more of a freestyle. So, yeah. I know it's ironic to say a freestyle spread, but just bear with me. So, we're going to start with the first one, which is the shifting journey. It's a total of 9 cards. Um, I'm just going to kind of lay them out and then I feel like there's not enough space. So, I'm going to put it sideways for a minute just so you guys understand the shape of it. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So obviously this is a little cramped. Ironic because these are my mini cards. Um, but it's supposed to resemble like, let me see if I can get it to look how it's supposed to. So this is supposed to be the circle. It's like the shifting symbol. This is supposed to be the second circle. If that kind of makes sense. And then like the line that goes through it. There we go. So I'm gonna put this back to normal. But as long as you understand that shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gosh, it's gonna look super cramped, but just bear with me. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit. Maybe I should do a diagonal because I want the shape to still be there. So, okay, as an example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. Okay, we're off to a great start. Okay, so the first card is representing your CR self. So this is a sample reading. This is not a general reading. I don't expect this to be accurate or even like a comprehensive kind of reading, but just okay. The first one is your CR self. The Ace of Swords. I feel like that's a lot of ideas, a lot of thinking, maybe not a lot of action, but yeah, it feels like you're kind of maybe you're scripting or you're in the thought process of it, fleshing out the DR rather than like because an ace is like an idea. It's not like you've actually started working on it. It's more kind of like you fleshing everything out. Then we have number 2, which is what you need to focus on. And then we got the tower in reverse for that. So a tower moment is basically like everything kind of falling apart, but at the end, there's good results from it. So, yay, your whole life falls apart. But yeah. So to focus on a tower in reverse specifically, to me is like an internal tower moment. So if we can think of the tower is falling apart because it was built on a crappy foundation, and so when that happens in with the reverse, it's like your mind is changing. Your mind is maybe you're like getting rid of old mindsets. The tower moment is happening internally, essentially. Then we have card number 3, which is what to focus on. Sorry, what to release. No, wait, hold on. So confused. 1, 2, I wish, I mean, like, if this were in front of me on my own, I'd totally spread these out more, but since I need it in frame, I feel like it's confusing me. So, okay, the CR self, what to focus on, what to release, number 3. So, the Knave of Wands, I believe that's the Page of Wands in reverse, which is like you have a lot of passion, a lot of ideas, but no sense of direction. So they're telling you to release the directionless behavior and to try to pinpoint something. Sometimes people like, just as an example, like they aren't picking a significant other in their DR because they like so many people in the DR that they're going to, and it's like, hey, just focus on one of them. Focus on one scenario, focus on one background, focus on one significant other instead of like being directionless. It could even be like a shifting method. Maybe you're trying like 17 different methods and it's like, hey, just pick one. That's what needs to be released. So number 4 is obstacles. And we have the 5 of Pentacles. Is like feeling left out in the cold. Again, I don't expect this reading to make sense because the 5 of Pentacles to me is like a financial struggle. So if this were somebody's reading and they pulled the 5 of Pentacles as their obstacle, card number 4, I would say that maybe they can't focus too much on their DR because on their CR they need to take care of their finances to get that sorted out. That after that obstacle is completed, then they can like have more energy or clear those blockages to successfully shift. Our 5th one is the DR self. What did we get here? We got the 10 of Swords, so that would be 10 of Swords in reverse. That's an ending that happened that you didn't want to happen, or that your DR self didn't want to happen. Again, it will depend on what you script and how things turn out, but that's kind of like the energy of the DR self. And so that's another thing to take into account, right? Like if you're trying to align yourself to your DR and you're in a happy state, you're in an energetic state, and your DR self is like suffering and going through something traumatic, like subconsciously you might be blocking yourself from connecting to that energy because you're such a, you're in such a good mood. And the opposite, I would say, if you're also in a bad mood and your DR self is in a bad mood, maybe try to use that as a way to connect to your DR self. Which I don't know if people are going to have a problem with that because I don't know, sometimes people get sensitive, but I mean, you're not always going to be happy when you're trying to shift. Some of you are actively trying to get away from your CRs because you're so unhappy. So, I feel like if you and your DR self have trauma or some kind of like issue that you kind of relate to try to use that as a connection. But anyway, that would just be like your DR self. And we have number 6, which is advice from the DR self, which is the 3 of Wands. So the 3 of Wands is like action, taking action. So we have the Ace of Wands, which is the idea. The 2 of Wands is kind of like mapping things out, kind of really fleshing out that idea. And then the 3 of Wands is like, okay, actually taking action, actually going. You can see like there's little boats there. It's like you're going to your horizons or whatever the fuck. But yeah. So the advice from the DR self would be to like actually start taking action. The 7 is advice from someone in your DR. So this could be either a parent or a loved one or even an enemy. If you want it to be someone specific, I would pick that before you draw the card. But since I didn't pick anyone specifically, advice from someone in your DR. Yeah. The World is like completion. So I feel like that would kind of just be like you're good to go. It could also be like make sure everything else in your CR is wrapped up. Make sure all your loose ends in your scripting are wrapped up, like basically bringing things to an end, um, in a positive note, not like the Ten of Swords over here. Then we have card number 8. I'm sorry, which is how to connect to your DR self. And here we got the Six of Swords, which is basically like walking away, or getting away from a situation that doesn't serve you. So that could either be talking about your CR self or your DR self. Some of you guys script really traumatic things, and I feel like when you do that, your subconscious is probably like, I actually don't want to experience that really traumatic thing. And so it unintentionally blocks you from shifting. Um, yeah, so let go of anything that doesn't serve you, whether that's in your script or whether that's something in your CR. Then we have card number 9, something you aren't seeing, something that's hasn't been disclosed yet, etc., etc. And we have the Knight of Wands. So it could be the energy of the Knight of Wands, which is kind of like fast energy, really swift, very passionate, very like in your face. Think of fire signs, which would be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But it could also be an actual person. So maybe there's someone in your DR that you aren't like scripting things for, or that you aren't really noticing, or just as an example, because it's the most popular example. Sorry, I keep referencing Harry Potter. I swear I'm not like a fanatic or anything, but people script, oh, I go to Hogwarts. The class isn't going to be filled with all the main characters. It's going to be like maybe you're in a class with Harry Potter and everybody else is like someone in your DR that like people have never heard of. So that might be another thing. Like something you aren't expecting, something you didn't script, like people outside of the main cast of, or even like if you're shifting to a DR that isn't, some novel, it could be like, oh, me living my experience but as a boy instead of as a girl. And it's like there's still gonna be like random people that aren't in your life now. So that's how I would kind of take it if I were to receive a court card. Like someone you didn't think of or someone you don't know. So card number 2 is a script aid. So there's 5 basic points. 1, which is what in my script, let me try to zoom in. What is something I should keep? What is something I should release that you've scripted? What is something you should add to your script? Number 4, what is something you should leave open and not script? And then number 5, something you should focus on from what you've already scripted. So this one can be as long or as short as you want. If you wanted to take these cards and call it a day, that's fine. If you wanted a bit more context, you could always go, what is something I should keep? What is something I should release? What is something I should add? What is something I should leave open? And what is something I should focus on? And then you can kind of take those and read them. I'm gonna try not to overanalyze when I'm reading these because it's a sample reading. It's not a general reading. It's not an actual reading. So for example, here we have number 1, what is something we should keep? We have the 4 of Cups, the 10 of Wands, and then we have the 2 of Swords in reverse. So I would say there's some kind of choice that's to be made in the DR that you would have scripted. The 10 of Wands is like feeling the burden, feeling like you have to work really hard. And then the 4 of Cups, it's kind of like you're being presented with opportunities, but you're like, no, I'm good, basically. So maybe they want you to keep I know it sounds funny, but maybe they want you to keep the struggle. Maybe there's a lesson to learn there. Again, I'm trying not to overthink it because I really want to sit down and be like, well, technically, the Four of Cups and the Two of Swords in reverse together, but it's really not that serious. Number two, what to release. So we have the Devil card. So that's something that's um, like addictive, kind of. In reverse, it is a sign of release, getting rid of that, walking away from that. So maybe release any addictions or any toxic relationships that you may have scripted. We have the Death card in reverse. And then we have the Five of Wands, which is an argument. Yeah, so if you had scripted something with somebody that was like a toxic person or a toxic situation or something where, everybody turns against you, kind of like leave that out, I would say. Then we have what to add to your script, the Five of Swords in reverse, so forgiveness after arguments, the Nine of Swords in reverse, which is like nightmares, but it's more mental than it is actually happening. And then we have the Queen of Cups in reverse, so that's like emotional blockages. I don't know why they would tell you to add emotional blockages again. Like, this isn't. I'm not picking up on any energy. I'm just randomly putting cards down, so I don't expect them to make sense. But you know, um, yeah. So hypothetically, in this reading, they would tell you to add emotional blockages, um, and kind of understanding maybe that some of those emotional blockages are coming from a place of fear that is unwarranted. And then the Five of Swords is obviously forgiveness. So maybe like adding in that you learn a lesson from the situation. Leave open, number four. So leave open would be like if there's a situation where you're like, I haven't really worked out what I want to script to that. This would be the part where they're telling you like, I don't script anything for it. Just leave it however it's gonna happen, however it works out. And then I'll just take the first card, which is the Eight of Swords in reverse, which is walking away from something. Um, it's kind of like feeling mentally trapped, but finding out that it's really all in your head more than it is like you're actually trapped. Um, so if you were planning on scripting a decision that was like, I do leave or I do end up staying in the situation, I think they're kind of telling you like leave that open. Then we have the fifth card, I'm sorry, which would be to focus, which is the Two of Cups in reverse, which is a situation, possibly romantic, that is not in alignment with your values. So I don't know why they would draw your focus to that. It could be maybe they're telling you like rework that part of your script, or maybe because you have a relationship that's out of alignment in your CR, they're like if you focus on that energy and that feeling, it will be easier to connect to your DR where you also are experiencing the same situation. So yeah. Then we have number three, which is a heart spread. It's basically the love spread with you and your DR significant other. So it's supposed to make a heart. The first one is your DR self. Number two would be your DR significant other. Number three would be the relationship objectively. Number four would be how you view the relationship. Number five would be how they view the relationship. Number six would be a message from the DR self, or sorry, the DR someone or significant other. And then seven would be advice from the DR significant other, and then the outcome of the relationship. So as you can see here, it kind of makes a heart shape. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, the DR self is the Ace of Pentacles, so that's opportunities being presented, ideas being brought into fruition. We have the DR partner or love interest as the Three of Cups, kind of like a party person. Maybe they're a little distracted. Um, the relationship is the Eight of Wands, so that's kind of like the Eight of Wands in reverse is stagnation. It's the lack of movement. It's not going anywhere right now. That would make sense if they're in the energy of the Three of Cups, which is like, again, partying. If it's more negative, like accompanied with the Seven of Swords, that would be cheating. So they don't really seem too focused on the relationship here. Card number 4 would be how you see the relationship, which is Four of Pentacles, which is like in reverse. It's kind of like holding on to something really tightly, or like being greedy even, which would make sense if this person's off hoeing around and you're probably like, again, I'm not reading anyone's energy, I'm just giving an example. But yeah, that would make sense that this person is holding on. And then how they view the relationship, the King of Pentacles. That would be a good view of the relationship, kind of like on top of everything. Financially, emotionally, it's just like a stable card. Number 6 would be a message from the DR significant other. The Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So because there's the King of Pentacles here, and then their message to you, it would be the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. I think they would kind of be telling you like to align yourself to the energy of that relationship. It could also be that they see you as kind of a wet blanket or someone who doesn't have their shit together. Advice from the DR significant other. The Knave of Chalices. I'm like, what is a page? Is it knave? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter in the end because it's an example, but I think knave could be knight. But I haven't seen any pages. There are just no pages. Oh my gosh. I don't think there's any pages. I'm freaking out. No, okay, yeah, knave is a page. Okay, so the Page of Cups is like the beginning of um create a creative process or like an emotional relationship and just getting started. So I guess the advice would be like to tap in more into your emotional side. Um, and then the outcome of the relationship is the Empress, so that would be a good outcome, obviously. Um, yep. And then we have the path to shifting. So that's the 4th spread. It's kind of like your CR self and kind of like forming a stairway, if you will, to the DR self. And it's kind of like asking how can I successfully shift or find my way to shifting or to my DR. Um, and you would kind of read it like a story. This is what I meant by it's a little more free form. It's not like one represents this, two represents this. It's kind of like, how do I get from point A to point B? And this would kind of like tell you how to get there. You can alter any of these how you want. There's no rules here. It doesn't really matter. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm trying to think if I missed anything, but that's pretty much it. I'm sorry, I'm like kind of out of it right now. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.